The Mummy is in theaters now, officially kicking off Universal's Dark Universe. The reboot of the Brendan Fraser starring Mummy films and the 1932 version before that stars Tom Cruise, Sofia Boutella, and Russell Crowe. Now, even though you may be familiar with The Mummy or two before, it's important to go into the new one prepared. And I don't mean wrapping yourself in bandages, people, though that's okay too. Anyway, here are 5 things you need to know before seeing The Mummy. First up, what's the story here? Directed by Alex Kurtzman, the movie stars Cruise as Nick Morton, a morally ambiguous Tomb Raider who gets involved in the same kind of stunts as Cruise's Mission Impossible character, because we know he's good at that. So those stunts are going down, and oh yes, they're happening while Morton also has to fight off an ancient undead evil. No big deal. For now at least, the new film doesn't seem to connect to Brendan Fraser's Mummy trilogy in any way outside of sharing a fondness for shedding the traditional bandage look for its titular threats. Instead, the new movie is a reboot of the original 1932 storyline, but with a modern-day setting. So who's the Mummy? The tattoo face-wielding title character is played by Sofia Boutella, who, by the way, started her career as a dancer for Madonna and Rihanna. Walk like an Egyptian. Neither of them sang that? Fine. But shout out to the Bangles and Susanna Hoffs. My producer wanted to work that in. Anyway, you may remember Boutella as the blade-legged assassin in Kingsman: The Secret Service and as an alien in Star Trek Beyond. She also has a ton coming up, including this summer's action flick Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron and HBO's adaptation of Fahrenheit 451 with Michael B. Jordan, among other projects. Up next, The Mummy is the kickoff movie for Dark Universe, the series of interconnected movies that will also include Johnny Depp's Invisible Man, Javier Bardem's Frankenstein's Monster, and remakes of The Wolfman and Bride of Frankenstein, among many others. The connective tissue in this movie universe is said to be Russell Crowe, who's Dr. Jekyll, of Mr. Hyde fame of course, is the founder of an organization called the Prodigium. That's a group dedicated to tracking down monsters around the world and keeping tabs on artifacts that might conjure up new ones into existence. You know, we've been talking about the Mummy a lot around here, which makes me feel like an honorary part of the Prodigium.
This microphone is a monster tracking device.
Ah! Alright, but really, think of it as a cross between Hellboy's Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense and Marvel's S.H.I.E.L.D., only with a boss that literally could turn into a murderous monster at any minute. Just like my boss. Okay, sorry. The reviews for The Mummy are mixed. According to The Hollywood Reporter's John DeFore, the film as a whole is a limp, thrill-free debut and a lackluster start to the Dark Universe. DeFore also says that Cruise is weirdly out of place here. David Ehrlich from IndieWire, meanwhile, called it the worst Tom Cruise movie ever. Whoa. But the reviews weren't all bad. USA Today's Brian Truitt wrote that the film is a tomb full of action-packed guilty pleasure that owns its horror, humor, and rampant silliness equally. While Entertainment Weekly's Chris Nashawati said Cruise is the film's secret weapon after all. After a historic opening for Wonder Woman, which grossed a winning $103.3 million in its domestic box office debut over the weekend, the experts are saying The Mummy will probably get lassoed by the Amazonian princess at the box office this weekend. Early tracking for The Mummy suggested a domestic opening of $40 million or so, and that number has only decreased recently to $35 million. Experts predict that Wonder Woman could drop as little as 50% from its domestic debut this past weekend, meaning it would still take in $50 million plus, surely enough to beat out The Mummy. Head to THR.com for more on The Mummy and check out Graham McMillan's full rundown for everything to know before seeing the film. In the meantime, are you planning to see the movie this weekend, or are you going to go watch Wonder Woman again? Or are you skipping the movies entirely? If so, how dare you? Anyway, let me know in the comments, guys. For the Hollywood Reporter News, I'm Paul Costabile. There's a monster coming!